Hi. Hi, everyone. Doo-doo-doo. All right. Here we are. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing? What are we drinking this morning or this evening? I'm having buttered coffee per usual. It's kind of colloquially known as bulletproof coffee. It's that's more like specifically a brand, but it's kind of the brand that started the whole buttered coffee trend. And I heard about it on a podcast, the like bulletproof podcast back in I want to say like 2015. So I have been, oh my gosh, yeah, I've been well into 10 years, basically every single day without fail having buttered coffee. You want to do salted butter specifically. The salt in the butter helps thicken the coffee itself. Um, and then the rest of it, the butter tastes really good. But the reason I got into it, why I even tried it, wasn't even just for taste, is because he talked about it as a meal substitute or meal replacement. So like you because of the it's high in fat and technically bulletproof does the buttered coffee and MCT oil. So it's just supposed to be like high calorie, high fat, and that's why it's a meal replacement. I don't do the MCT oil because I started doing it, yeah, 10 years ago when I was 20 and couldn't afford such a crazy thing. It wasn't even that common either. That was something you had to specialty order. Like you can find MCT oil on the shelves at the time. No one else I know does it. I can barely get people to even try it, but it's my favorite drink in the entire world. When I have to have regular coffee or even lattes before I have, like, let's say I'm traveling or something and I have to drink that before I drink my bulletproof buttered coffee, or I don't get to have my buttered coffee that morning, it sucks. It's immediately like my day is immediately worse because buttered coffee is so good and I'm like expecting my drink to be that thick and that fatty because I not only put, melt the butter, but I add cream to it too. So it's super creamy and buttery. And yes, there is a little film of oil on top of the drink. Like if you were to dip your finger in it, you would get some oil on top. It is yellow. And if you leave it out, like you forget about it and you leave it out, it does, what's the word? Coagulate. So, which is kind of gross. But yeah, buttered coffee, my favorite drink in the entire universe. Um, 10 out of 10. So let me know if you've ever tried it. Let me know what you're drinking. I would say the vast majority of people I know are addicted to lattes, which is crazy because again, growing up, or at least when I was a teenager and all through basically my entire 20s, I don't know what happened. It's like the people around me turned 30 and now they can only do lattes and they won't do drip coffee anymore. But like my parents didn't have lattes. My parents drank caffeine every day, but they weren't having lattes. Oh, hi, Martin. Thanks for joining. So happy you could make it. Stephen and David from Florida. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thanks for coming back. So glad to hear from you guys. Oh, thank you for the belated birthday wishes, Martin. That's very sweet of you. So happy to hear from you. It's got to be late where you are, right? Um, But yes, I had an incredible birthday. Actually, like way better than I could have expected considering I didn't really plan much, but the live stream was super fun. Um, and you subscribed. Thank you. That means the world to me. That's the best birthday gift I could ever ask for. I'm not even joking. I appreciate that more than you could ever know. I've been working on like my backdrop for for my regular sit down videos. I did a lot of that yesterday, and then I went to like the weird spa. Oh my gosh, guys, the spa thing I did yesterday. Spa thing. Well, there was the salt therapy lounge, very normal, like, you just sit in a room surrounded by salt. There's literally like bags of salt above you, salt on the ground, a wall of salt. I'm gonna make a short about it, then hopefully get that posted today so you can kind of see that in action too. You're in a gravity chair, so you're just hanging out, weighted blanket. So that was, just chill. But then the electromagnetic uh biocharger, that was crazy. I thought that that was going to be more scammy, as I mentioned yesterday. No, that thing is awesome. They call it Bonnie, and I'm obsessed with Bonnie. I'm very pro Bonnie. It's such a good time. Um, Martin, not too bad. It's 5 p.m. here. So just cooking dinner. Very nice. What are we having? Do you cook dinner often? I need to get back into the mode of cooking. That is a goal of mine. A goal of mine is to cook more and not eat out as much. It's me. Did you feel the spa was gimmicky or some parts of it were gimmicky? I thought, oh no, here, one sec, guys. Yukon is freaking out. Let me see if I can get him. Come on, Yukon. Okay. Okay. Do you see the Yukon? He did not like hearing my voice and not having access to me. Um, he's the sweetest boy. Um, But did I feel the spa was gimmicky or some parts of it were gimmicky? I definitely feel some parts of it had the potential to be gimmicky. You know what they had? I can't remember if I talked about this yesterday. One of the things they post on the website is ketamine induced talk therapy. So there's stuff like that where I'm like, but then they have red light therapy, they have a deprivation tank, but this electromagnetic biocharger was nuts. It's a Tesla coil. There's gases that get released at different times. There's lights. There's crazy sounds. So the machine sound, it makes like a like a high pitched whistle that continues to get higher and higher and higher and higher. And this is for 30 minutes, like 30 minutes of this insane sound, insane lights. But it was so crazy. You could like feel pulsating on your skin, your hair would raise, and all of us started to get more and more hyped. Like we got to a point where we couldn't sit down anymore. We had to stand because it just felt like there was too much energy inside us. And afterwards, we were all talking like a mile a minute. Like we just had a bunch of caffeine, but it was 6 p.m. So I'm so Bonnie pilled. The biocharger is fascinating, super cool. A spa day. Oh my gosh, so jealous. I need some pampering. Oh, you deserve it, Martin. You should get some pampering. Now, it was a not traditional spa. It was not a massage, um, which would be very cool. I know it's me mentioned something about both of them being masseuses, right? Um, Martin, I cook as often as possible. I love cooking. Making pizza from scratch. Do you have a pizza maker? Like one that does the dough? Um, that's awesome if you love cooking. That makes it a lot easier. I do not love cooking. I don't hate it, but it's a very neutral activity for me, which is why I'm not like passionate about it. Um, and thank you. Yes, he is gorgeous. He's the most beautiful dog in the world, and he knows it. And everyone tells me all the time. So yeah, massage therapist. Is that a synonym for masseuse, or is there a difference in the two titles? Like, is it a more is it more clinical at all? I haven't seen a masseuse. I haven't gotten a massage in a minute. When I was doing the fair circuit, when I was drawing caricatures at different fairs, I was probably getting one once a month because that is an extremely physical job, especially on my upper back. I would like come back from a fair being a hunched lady because it's that was not easy. Yeah, I wish I liked cooking more. Oh, you know what I got? I should have brought it in for the stream. I got a Avatar: The Last Airbender cookbook. So my goal is to like try to do more cooking. And the cookbook is so interesting because it's broken up into the different nations. So it's like Water Tribe and Earth Kingdom and blah 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 blah. And and there's like little like the characters are giving you recommendations or like, oh, my grandmother used to make this for me. So it's very immersive and it's very Asian inspired, which is also part of the reason I gravitated towards it. But then you have like the Water Tribe section is mostly seafood, where like the Air Nomad section is mostly vegetarian options. So it's really fun. I have not made it yet. I have ingredients for a stir fry from the Fire Nation section, but I got a lot of things, but I need pork neck and a few spices that I think I need to go to an Asian specific grocery store to find because I couldn't find it at my local one. Um, a masseuse basically does rub downs. It was a generic term in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Massage therapy studies anatomy. Ah, well, that sounds better. That sounds like it would be far more effective, which I guess is why you guys would probably be in something like that. That's so cool. Yes, I'm making from scratch. I don't have a fancy dough maker, but I do have a small pizza oven. Oh, that sounds so good. What are you putting on there? By the way, your hair looks absolutely fabulous. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm not used to having it being even remotely straight and touchable, but it is kind of fun. It might be something, a style that I experiment with more often. I mostly navigate the Italian kitchen. Well, I presume as in like you make a lot of Italian food. So I personally am not huge into Italian food because I don't eat a lot of pasta or bread. Like, I'm not a big bread person. I'm not a pasta person. I'm not a rice person. Like yeah, super carby stuff. Even as a kid, I never gravitated towards. And so obviously Italian food is so carb heavy. Everything is a pasta, everything is a bread. I like pizza, especially the more traditional pizza, like the thinner the dough, the more I like it. And I won't eat the crust. Even as a kid, I would like stop at the crust and give it to someone else or the birds. um, yeah, I guess when I cook, it's I don't know. I just like throwing everything into a pan. I do a lot of meat. I do a lot of eggs. I do a lot of cheese, but we don't really use the anatomy and sociology very often in this town. It's where rich people come to play. Oh my goodness. Really makes sense. Well, gosh, well, hopefully they're paying you well for your services. You know, one could only hope. Oh, sorry about if the stream connection is a little wonky, guys. I need to route some of the Wi-Fi to this location. It's this place is big enough that it's having trouble reaching this room sometimes. But yeah, you're making me laugh. That's very funny. Um, the My friend that has a Reiki studio in this area, they used to be next to a tattoo parlor, and then the tattoo parlor shut down or moved locations or something, and then a massage studio popped up right next to her. And she doesn't do massage; she does Reiki, but it's kind of a similar-ish. There could be some crossover, but she very quickly found out that it, yeah, specializes in being naughty. And she was very upset, very, very upset by that. But you know, I'm a very live and let live kind of a person. And like I said, hopefully, I mean, if you're saying rich people are coming down, you know, hopefully everyone's having a grand old time and getting paid for it. That's the best of all worlds, right? Mm, 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 mm. Extremely well. Good. Good, good, good. You guys deserve it. Even though I don't know you, but that well, but you subscribe to me, so you deserve all the money in the world as far as I'm concerned. Um, so I spent a lot of time working on this background while doing research, playing around. I'm like playing around with lights over here, playing around with drapes, literally nailed to the wall. But I think after this, I'm going to go to some Goodwills and thrift stores and see what other fun stuff I can find to kind of elevate it. We're going into the tourist season and we don't have too many days off. We work a lot at uh, of nights. Um, is tourist season right now? Like, do you get a lot of tourists for the holidays? Is that why people are coming down? I guess I consider Florida tourist season to be around spring break time, but shows you what I know. Um, yeah, do you guys get to go to the beach during the day then? Hang out at the beach before hanging out at night? Do you have an at home massage studio then? Or do you have to rent one out? Oh, but you guys, the Bonnie machine, the biocharger, was one of the most fascinating experiences where I thought so sure it was going to be a scam. And even when it started going, I was like, this is crazy. I bet it's just going to be like, oh, the lights and the sounds, like it's going to be more it's almost like a cinematic experience, but it's not going to do anything. And then I couldn't shut up for the next like 5 hours. And I was like, okay, this did something. And I feel like I slept really well. So I don't know. I very much believe in Bonnie. Big Bonnie. I told my mom, I was like, I worship Bonnie now. Praise Bonnie. It's normal for people to push boundaries when they're on vacation, when they have a lot of money. You just got to gently enforce your boundaries. Yeah, good. Gently enforce. Well, hopefully there's not too many issues with that. That's not too difficult to enforce. Um, yeah, that's fascinating. I have a friend who I think would very much enjoy that sort of line of work. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten into it already. He's a gay man and he can be kind of highly, sometimes ridiculously promiscuous. And I think he would very much enjoy that aspect of it. You're reminding me that I need to talk to him about this because he would be like, "Oh, that's a dream. That's a dream come true." He's very funny. He lived in New York for a little bit and then lived in Australia and then back to New York and then LA. And now he's in Iowa and just like seeing family for few months, and then he'll be back in New York in January. A lot of Europeans, as soon as the first cold snap rolls across Europe, all the Europeans fly in. Oh my gosh, yeah, see, I didn't know that. I when I visited Chicago for Halloween on Halloween weekend, there was a rugby game happening, and so a lot of Irish people were in town, which was kind of cool as someone who's like a big fan of the culture and the language. I did when I was at a pub at 4 in the morning, and I talked to some Irish lads, and I mentioned how I know a little bit of Guelga, and they were just so both charmed and confused. They were like, "How and why would you know that?" And then the fact that I could even have like a very standard set or exchange with them blew them away. But yeah, they're that was very, very fun hearing all the accents all the time, and they were, yeah, very proud, very funny, kind of very, very polite people too. Time we go to their high rises. Wow. The delicate balance. You got to have some slight boundaries, but you also want them to call back. So they have to have fun, right? That makes sense. But that does seem difficult. That does seem like not difficult. And I'm sure the longer you're in the industry and the more types of people and more types of like experiences and exchanges that you have throughout the years, you kind of know what to expect, and the best way to navigate certain things. I bet you guys have crazy stories too. If you're going to people's high rises, oh my gosh, that's so fun or crazy or nuts. Oh my gosh, every animal wants to get into this room right now. But yeah, good for you guys. Good for you guys for staying busy, for making money, making a great living. It sounds like if you're able to live in the area you live in. That's so awesome. That's a dream come true. Um, I'm like I said, I've been working on a lot on this particular studio. And it is giving me quite the trouble. Like figuring out lighting has been more difficult than I thought it would be. I'm definitely. How's your cats doing? Still being a furry terrorist? Oh my gosh. Yes, in yesterday's stream, she was being kind of horrible. Well, I'm not sure many people noticed, but she was shaking stuff and trying to knock stuff over. Yes, she's being crazy. Every time she's outside, she kills things. Um, I and it's one of those things where I used to always know when she killed something, um, but now I find like bird carcasses just like around the area. Like she's not bringing them in as often, so I'm not noticing how much she's killing things right away, the way that I used to. Yeah, she is a naughty naughty lady, but yeah, so I've been working on this studio and I'm trying to like really make it like, oh, I need to make it more professional. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. I've always just kind of, I don't know, just ran with it, just kind of didn't do much research on how to make it look better, just did my best with the resources that I had. And I think that's great, especially when you're starting out. But now that I'm getting so close to monetization, I'm like, ugh, I need to actually try. I need to try a little bit. So that's something where after this stream, when I go, thrift shopping, I might be looking for fun stuff for the background, maybe different types of fabric. I'm thinking about getting paint. I'm thinking about getting LED lights. It's yeah, it's been a lot. I've been watching so many videos just on lighting because it's just not something I've ever cared about before. And that's probably the hardest thing about taking this sort of content creation more seriously is like, oh, you really do have to wear all the hats. And I understand that. I've been able to do that in regards to my caricature business, but I don't know, that's just such a different mode. It's something where well, one, I have a co-founder that does help me with a lot of things. She's the graphic designer, so she's what makes our website look real nice. And our business cards and our graphics. Like she is a lifesaver in that way. Um, oh yes, 80% of our clientele is older women and 20% is couples. They have fantasies, and this is her way of being close to their fantasies without actually pulling the trigger. This is mind blowing. You guys should have a podcast or like a little reality TV show. That is, um, I can't say I'm surprised, but mm, I'm not surprised, but I am. That is super interesting. And I take it these are married women, then older married women that like have the money to afford to obviously be able to go on these vacations and live in high rises and hire massage therapists. But I've definitely consumed a lot of content over this summer about, and I think it's partially just because I had a lot of friends get married for the last few years, and then pump out kids basically immediately. So there's just been a lot of rapid change in my peripheral life, in my with the people that I have relationships with, and I've been consuming a lot of content about how women can feel just so overworked and underappreciated, especially. Ugh. Oh yeah, yeah. I and listen, I like kids a lot. I get along with kids really, really well. But yeah, it's one of those things, and I'm in my early 30s. I just had a birthday, and I still am not sure that's an avenue that I'll ever go down. And not because I dislike kids or that I can't handle it or even pregnancy, like that, none of that really affects me as much as it's like I just have so many ambitious goals, and I just feel like I have a lot of potential, and I know from seeing my friends of the same age and the same sort of income bracket and general opportunities, just how all consuming it is, how tough it is. And these are women that want to have kids, right? And they've like wanted to have kids their entire lives. Like they're mentally prepared. They got married. They waited until their late 20s, early 30s. They were very responsible, and they have family nearby. They have grandparents that can help them. They can afford a nanny a few times a week or people to help like clean their houses, and they still can have such a hard time um, just balancing everything, especially the women. I think what freaks me out more than anything is the hormonal change to your brain. Like the idea of my brain being completely taken over with baby thoughts or like being consumed with baby thoughts does not appeal to me. Very much freaks me out. Um, but I love my friends' kids a lot, and I do think it is really cool, to see them grow and develop and change, and I think if you're passionate about having kids, that hopefully you're able to and you should, and if you're not, then you shouldn't. So, that's very much where I stand. I'm not somebody. I think there was a brief moment in time in my mid-20s where I thought having kids was everyone's like highest purpose in life. That's kind of a bit of a cultural thing right now. People are I don't know if everyone else feels this way, but it kind of feels like culturally we're swinging to a more conservative place, to a more right of center place culturally, and people are very pro having kids, and you see this online a little bit, and online is degenerate and not necessarily the consensus of everyone, but you do see a lot of comments about like, oh, like how kids are your highest purpose, and you're not a real adult until you have kids, and blah 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 blah. And I think there was a brief moment in time in my mid 20s where I kind of felt that way too. But that's also because I didn't know anybody in my mid 20s that had kids, Not anybody, not like a really, really close friend who where I can literally see their everyday life, like their day to day life. I knew some people that I was a acquaintance with or who I would talk to them every once in a while. So of course they can be like, "Oh, everything's great, blah blah blah." But now that I have a series of close friends, close women friends that I've had one kid, sometimes multiple kids. And you know what? Every single one tells me, they go, "It's so much harder than I ever thought it would be. It's so much harder." And then just the way, yeah, it's the only thing they can talk about. It's the only thing that like just consumes them, and it's completely understandable, especially for the first year. But I'm like, man, do I want to lose a year? It's tough. It's tough when you're a lady. Um, yes, all of them are married. Often the husbands are CEOs. Um, like to play golf and no longer have an interest in sex. So this is an outlet. Yeah, that's I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. At that point, you could debate on if it's even cheating. It's like people's needs I think should be allowed to be met. you know. I and if just because you marry someone doesn't mean you need to sign up to being celibate yourself just because your partner might lose interest in it, especially with age. I think it gets way more. Maybe it's just because I listen to a lot of Dan Savage. If you guys are familiar with Dan Savage from and the like Savage Love podcast, where he talks a lot about like gives a lot of relationship advice and sex advice. And he's really big into, and he's a gay man, and so he's really big into monogamish or non-monogamous relationships, but he talks so much and he gets so many letters from people and he talks so much about this sort of thing where like yeah, it's one thing when you get married and maybe the first 20 years your partner has a sex drive, but like what happens when that falls off and that changes? Like life is so long and things can get messy. So a lot of women tell us that their marriages are better having this outlet. I totally believe that because then you're not resentful of your partner for not providing it to them. Because if they're you expect them to be your only source of like a sexual outlet, and your partner just especially if they're older and like maybe it's not even just they're not interested, like it doesn't work. Things can change a lot once you get up to 50, 60, 70. And it's like, well, if just because it doesn't work for you doesn't mean it doesn't work for me. I'm very, very, very sympathetic to that actually. And I think that's a healthy way to go about it, frankly. Martin, just looking at my friends who have kids, calendar stresses me out. Yeah, that's another thing. All my friends that have kids right now are in the toddler phase. Like the oldest kid in the friend group isn't even 3 yet. So it's so right now they're like obsessed with, when they're an infant, they're obsessed with sleep and sleep cycles and feeding schedules. And when they become a toddler, they become obsessed with potty training. And then obviously, once they hit school age, it becomes extracurricular activities. And I think there can be a joy in that. I would say, especially if you're a lady and that is your number one, like that is your job, that's your creative outlet, that's just that it just fulfills all these different needs for you, then you're very lucky in that way. But it certainly isn't mine. It certainly isn't mine. I don't want to spend the rest of my life talking about sleep cycles and potty training. Ugh, no, thank you. And the cool thing, the one thing that does make me yearn for kids sometimes is that uh when you're older, now we're older children, and all of us, we're not only most of us cool with our parents and can hang out with our parents. We hang out like with our friends' parents, not one on one, but like in a group setting. Like the parents can come and party, the parents can hang out, we can drink, we can be cool, we can introduce them to the friend group or significant others or whatever. And that part I think is fun. Like the idea of having an adult child that have cool friends. That seems cool. That's where I get a little like, oh, that would be kind of fun. But like, man, it's a long time to get to that point. And again, it's the hormonal changes that might happen against my will that really freak me out. That's what causes me the most anxiety, where it's like, well, what if I start changing and it's not a choice that I'm making. It's because I have these crazy hormones. I don't know. That not having control over my own brain is a very freaky proposition. And I understand that the human body does that, because otherwise infants are so demanding and so resource heavy, and they take so much from you that if you didn't have those hormones, you might literally abandon them, like you literally might. So it's a safety mechanism for the child, but yeah, I'm not convincing myself, like even knowing that, I'm like, okay, so why would I go through that? But I don't know. I don't know. I have a friend that just had a baby. It's her second, and it was a preemie, 2 months early, little, so little, 4 pounds, and she's real cute. So there's that. um, but yeah, even though I don't have kids or anything like that. And yet, because I know so many people who do, it even permeates what I talk about or what I think about. It's crazy how all consuming it can be. Like, really crazy. My friend that had the preemie, though, she's handling it like she's kind of gives me hope when it comes to potential motherhood because she, even though her baby's super new, super fresh, she's going on trips. She's going to Chicago by herself. The baby's at home with the husband. But she's doing trips, she's going to concerts, she's going to events. She feels very like still herself. She seems like she has a full life outside of just strictly motherhood. So that gives me some hope, some comfort. But it's also her second, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Whew. So I got a sauna recently, um, an in-home sauna. So it's pretty cool. Had it less than a week, but I'm in it. And so far, I've been in it at least twice a day. I'm a big, big fan. It's crazy, Sometimes like people who get at home gyms, and because they think they're going to use it more often if it's at home, and then they end up never touching it and it just collects dust. A sauna, however, that's an easy thing to use. Big fan of the sauna. It also has red light therapy. That was a big factor for me because I am a believer in red light. Well, I don't know, believer. There's research behind it. It's one of those things where it's almost on the cusp of pseudoscience, but it's not. There has actually been, especially the last 5 years, tons of research around red light therapy. So I'm definitely a believer in that. And it like changes color and it has a thing. Well, this is for sure pseudoscience, but like color therapy. So the color is so immersive that it's like, oh, your skin is all that color and everything around you is that color. So they call it color therapy. I last year, um, me and my co-founder of my caricature company. Sorry, my cat is trying to break in. We um we drew out an event last year that it it was a hippy dippy event, right? It was supposed to be something. It was out on this cool, actually this really cool farm that hosts a lot of events, and has like yurts and camping, but also a cool campground where you can eat. They have fairy festivals and hobbits and elves. Like they throw a lot of events there, and this event was more hippy dippy and where you're like music is curing you and you're doing special yoga with reiki and this sort of thing. So me and my girl, because we knew some of the people that were working there, we decided to be vendors. Usually usually vendor spots aren't They can be expensive, which is why we've moved away from vending. But usually, if they are expensive, the place can justify that because they have a history and a proof of high foot traffic. Well, this is the event's first time they were hosting this particular event. Also, we're in the middle of nowhere, right? Because it's like a camping place. So it's not like we were going to get randos off the street that could come by. Uh, and so and so anyway, we're at this event and we were with a bunch of hippy dippy vendors, which we soon realized we were what this event was making money off of. They were not making money off of people coming to this event because almost no one came to this event. They charged so high because we, the vendors, were what they were making money off of. Like making a profit, not just recouping, but actually making money off of because the amount they were charging were ridiculous. It was the kind of thing where I almost dropped out of the event. Anyway, and oh, and don't worry, they like didn't have food. They didn't have food. There was no restaurants nearby because we were in the middle of nowhere, no gas stations. And they would even say things like, you don't sometimes I use the sun for nutrition. I go to the sun to fill me up. Crazy stuff. And one of the vendors sold sunglasses that were different colors. It was like very immersive and they called it color therapy. Like the lenses and the frames, like everything was this singular color and it would kind of wrap around your eyes really tight twice a day. Holy cow. Yeah. Well, it's really fun in there. But anyway, so they had these colored glasses and they would be like red, blue, green, and they were selling the set, the like 12 different color set of glasses for like $180. And they were calling it color therapy glasses. And the people there, and I kept being like, what does that mean? What is color therapy? Like I'm not turning you down. I'm not saying no. I'm just like, what does this mean? And they were like, oh, it changes the way you see the world. The red ones will make you more energetic, and the blue ones will make you more calm because it changes the way we see everything. We have a massage session to go to. Oh my goodness. Well, good luck. I hope it's fun. I hope it's a delight. And yes, I will check in with you later. I know you threw some stuff on the screen, so I'll still read it and respond if you want to jump back and rewatch the stream later. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. But yes, so the color therapy glasses, which you can look up on Amazon if you're curious about what I'm talking about, literally look up color therapy glasses, which is where these people were getting their sets. And you can get the same set from Amazon for $70, which is still freaking nuts. But yeah, you put them on and it was, I guess, kind of cool how immersive the color changing was because it like literally covered kind of your upper, lower, and side vision. But then you're like, okay, the world is pink. Now what? What does this do? And it supposedly change your mood, alter the state of your mind and your consciousness, blah, 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 blah. Also, say the sauna has this same sort of color therapy which is fun. It's kind of fun to change and mess around with the colors, but it is so whack. You guys should look up. I'll go on Pinterest. I was in the sauna with my friend a few days ago, the one that's moving to New York, and we were looking up color therapy glasses, persuade people. Well, sometimes at this particular event, there were no people, so no one bought anything, including caricatures or anything. And but yes, they sure can. But I feel quite a way about hippie vendors and hippie events after that experience. And like seeing grifting, it's one thing when you see grifting online, but seeing grifting and grifters happen in first person in real life was quite the experience and really altered my view, kind of of vending in general. But yeah, my friend and I were sitting in the sauna and we were messing around because we were looking up on Pinterest like color therapy, like what do the colors mean? And we turned it to blue, like we were looking at the blue light because it was in the evenings. We're like, ooh, blue is calming. Blue is kind of a sedative. And then randomly one of the because everyone has different terminologies or different meanings, right? It's not like it's standardized. And one of the things we looked up said conservative, just randomly, just said blue light conservative. And so we were talking about how because he's a gay guy, and he was like, "Wow, I really want to impregnate a woman and settle down and have traditional values now." So anyway, that's the most I've gotten out of color therapy. But let me see. It's me. I know you threw something up. You're never ready for children. You just dive in and make it happen. Most of the people that have children always say that they wouldn't have it any other way, but they didn't know it at the time. That is totally fair. And that's something too where I think sometimes if I think about the amount of work that my pets are, then maybe I would say the same thing to my former self that didn't have any pets. Where it's like, well, yeah, it's a lot more work, requires a lot more money. Yeah, just a lot more like emotion. Like every time Yukon is sick, I have a panic attack. So I definitely but then would I want it any other way? No. No, I can't imagine my life without them. So I recognize that with children as well, where like the lows might be lower, but in theory, the highs will be higher. So I think about that in regards to children too. Um, marry his cousin. Oh. Yeah. Well, what's funny about you say that because I've been rewatching House of Dragons season 1. So I've immediately you say marry his cousin and I'm like, "Oh, like the yeah, traditional values." That's funny. You're funny, Martin. I'm gonna send that to him. But no, I literally I was thinking in terms of like Targaryens because they're literally the last episode that I watched, episode 3, they were talking about Rhaenyra marrying her cousin. Marry her cousin or marry her brother, you know? Like that's just it just becomes so normalized once you watch this show. It's just crazy. But yeah, marrying his cousin. Well, you know, some I swear get kind of close. Some I swear get kind of close. Yeah, I live in Iowa, which has been a red state, but I live in specifically Des Moines, which is an extremely blue county. So you kind of get a weird mix of both worlds, which I guess a lot of states in the Midwest are like that, where the state on the whole might be red, but the city pockets are extremely blue. Ohio's like that too, where I lived for a little bit. So but in Iowa, especially, there's more of that mix of people of those that work in like agriculture come into the city a lot more. So it's yeah, it gets real interesting around here. People are very opinionated about such things, about their traditional values. Well, I think the most traditional thing about Iowa and Des Moines, it's actually one of the most church heavy areas in the US per capita, in the sense that there are physically so many churches per capita, like per mile in the city, even compared to places in the South. Like there are just so many churches right next to each other, basically on top of each other. So that part is I don't think yeah, I don't know anybody that's from Iowa who's not religious. Is Iowa, is that livestock farms? Some, but it's gonna be mostly corn and soybean. That's the biggest export from here, are like crops. Big crop heavy state. So and then pigs, probably, but more crops than pigs. I think. I'm not 1,000% sure. I'm not like hyper super familiar. I don't interact with the farm sector that much, but you just hear about it through osmosis. Like when you live in a farm state, you're gonna know about farming whether you want to or not. So, but yeah, you're also yeah, definitely probably one of the most religious, and granted, I've never spent a ton of time in the South, and I know the South is also deeply, deeply religious, but I also think Iowa, in terms of Midwestern states, it's not only that it's religious, is that like the people here are actually religious. The people here do actually go to church on Sunday. So it's not just that there are churches here, and it's not just that people call themselves Christian. Like if you go up to Minnesota, Minnesota is known as a deeply Catholic state. So like a quote unquote high Catholic population, lots of Catholic churches. I learned from one of the last times I went up there that the first American cathedral was built in Minnesota. So that's part of the reason the Catholic population there is so strong. But very few, like the not a lot of people, especially not a lot of younger people, actually go to church. Like millennials aren't necessarily going to mass in Minnesota. Zoomers definitely are not going to mass in Minnesota. But down here in Iowa, totally different story. Most people I know, like they're going to church on Sundays. They might even be going on Wednesdays. They have Bible studies. They're doing, the baptisms, the communions, like they're super heavily involved. So it's just a very interesting climate over here. It is unique. Um, Now, I personally am a fan of Catholicism. Well, a fan. I find it fascinating and beautiful and something that I do enjoy learning about because it's been around for so long and it has so many traditions and traditions tied to different parts of the country. A dream of mine is to go to Europe and to really explore these Catholic heavy places, these like very, very old church, and not just Catholicism, but um, I would love to go to Greece and go to ancient Greece. You know what's crazy? I went to Europe when I was 14 for a school trip, and I did a lot of those things. I went to some of the most beautiful cathedrals in the world, went to ancient Greece, went to Pompeii, like studied in all these beautiful places, but I was 14, so I'm dumb. I like didn't necessarily realize how I did recognize that it was special, but I don't know, I'm 14. My brain wasn't developed. I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have. I saw the statue of David. I went to Vatican, but I was 14. So I was a baby and I had a baby brain and an underdeveloped baby brain. So I would love to go again as an adult and really, I don't know, pay attention. I have always wanted to visit the Bible Belt. It's so different from where I live, even though we are part of the same Western culture. Yes, because aren't you in Holland? um, or Denmark? You've told me before, Martin. Denmark, but close. Okay, there we go. I knew I was like in that area. Um, yes, the Bible Belt. Is Iowa technically a part of the Bible Belt? I actually don't know. I know that's like kind of more of the South is definitely the Bible Belt. But I don't know if it kind of dips up into Iowa at all. Hi, Mr. Dog. Yukon goes to doggy daycare a few days a week now, and everybody there loves him and is obsessed with him, and also call him Mr. Dog. Let me see if I can. Bible Belt picture. Okay, so a lot of these maps that I'm looking at, they either don't include Iowa or just the southern part of Iowa, but it's going to be more, yeah, just the deep south, the Georgia, the Louisiana, the North and South Carolinas, part of Texas, part of Florida. Okay, yeah. He also seems like a gentle bear. Yes. He's extremely gentle. He's extremely relaxed. He always has been. He's super like when you give him a treat, you know how some dogs will get super excited and they'll basically bite your hand off to get that treat. Yukon just does a gentle like, yeah, and takes it from you. Yeah, he's extremely gentle. He's not particularly social. He's some people consider him almost antisocial, not towards other dogs, but towards people. Because I think people we're so used to dogs wanting our attention all the time and wanting to be around us and wanting to be pet or being needy or jumping on you or wanting to see you when you get home, coming up and being excited to see you. And he is just not like that at all. Like he's not. Um, I think he just knows that our existence is to please him, and that's all that matters to him. He's like, "Well, when are you going to give me what I want when I want it?" He definitely looks down on me and on us, on all people, because he knows he's better than us. I swear to God. He has this thing, and everybody who has spent significant time with him has seen it. So it's not just me. I'm not crazy, but he has human eyes. It's not dog eyes. They're not dog eyes. They're people eyes. And they're not people eyes 100% of the time, but there's sometimes he looks at you and they just turn people like. So my understanding is that he is a spirit that has been around for thousands of years and has lived multiple lives, including a life as a human. And right now, for whatever reason, he's reincarnated as an Alaskan Malamute. And that's why he gets so annoyed because he's just been around for so long. So that's my Yukon theory on why my dog is so weird and resentful and yeah, resentful that I'm not just doing his bidding 100% of the time. But yeah, the Bible Belt, so interesting. Well, what parts of it are so different from where you live in the sense that he's a Malamute, right? Yes, he is an Alaskan Malamute, or at least mostly an Alaskan Malamute. He he was a rescue, so he very well might be part Husky, maybe even part German Shepherd. He seems to be smaller than a purebred Malamute, so he might be mixed with other things, but he is, in all intents and purposes, an Alaskan Malamute. People that know what Alaskan Malamutes look like always call him out. So that's what we're sticking to. But anyway, Martin, when it comes to the Bible Belt, what about it is so different from where you live? The only other Malamute I have experience with is a very dramatic and vocal dog. Really? I know they can be vocal. Malamutes and Huskies can both be very like chatty, like whoa, 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 whoa kind of dogs. But dramatic. That's funny. Yukon's dramatic, but in a like yeah, just resentful sort of way and that he glares at people, which is another thing. A lot of people that are used to dogs, they're like, "Oh, I like golden retrievers. I like dogs who like me. I like dogs that run up to me when they come home." Are very almost like culture shocked. When Yukon is not that enthusiastic to see them and literally glares at them and is they can just feel how manipulative Yukon is in the best way. Denmark is not very religious. Religion has mostly become something we've done for tradition, but not because of faith. So visiting states that are so religious would be fascinating. Yes, that would be quite the culture shock. I mean, yeah, if you were to come even to Iowa, but I would imagine the Bible Belt too, for obvious reasons. Having people where they literally pray before meals, or pray when with together when they wake up in the morning, or they actually like read. the Bible app. I know several friends where they like read their Bible, like read it on the Bible app in the morning and do like Bible journaling, and then they have Bible study, and then they have their faith groups where they like actually go to church for fun and for socializing, sometimes multiple times a week, on top of actual church service, in which sometimes people even bring notebooks and write down notes from the service. People actually wear cross necklaces, not just as a fashion statement, but as a true for like show of faith. Um, yeah, it would that would be probably very different when people very much take it seriously. People take it very seriously up here. And I do wonder if people down in the Bible Belt take it even more seriously. That is fascinating. Probably. But I'm starting to lose steam because we're at that hour mark, guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So hopefully, anybody that is able to make it back and join me. Thank you to everyone that hung out with me today and, you know, commented. A lot of fun. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Martin. Mwah, 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 mwah. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate everyone that comes on this stream and, comments and talks. I love just hanging out with you guys. You mean the world to me. And I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye.